Native justice is a term that appears once in the Declaration of Independence, 3 paragraphs from the end. The inhabitants of these states appeal to the native justice of their British cousins. Here, the term native means innate. The Declaration of Independence contains more than 24 complaints about the policies of King George III. Doubtless, King George III considered his policies okay. Based on the complaint cited in the Declaration of Independence, the inhabitants of these states did not consider his policies okay. Just because the king decreed it did not make it right. What is the origin of such an evaluation? It is the native justice of the inhabitants of these states. The origin of this evaluation is the innate sense of what is right and wrong, which was held by those active in the rebellion, revolution, war, whatever you want to call it. The Declaration of Independence makes no mention of the authors or signers' faculty of native justice, but clearly they possess it, and they give credit to their British cousins for also possessing it. The term native has been taken to mean innate. Okie dokie. What then does the term justice mean in this context? I invite you to think of the way books and many pages on the internet are formatted. The ends of the words at the right margin form a straight line. The text is said to be right justified. In this analogy, just, as in justice, has a connotation of evenness. Something is made straight. Clearly, the inhabitants of these states did not consider arrangements between them and King George III to be even and straight. They just weren't right. In fact, the inhabitants of these states felt strongly enough about the errant policies of King George III that they fought him and his military over it. This begs the question, what is the origin of this native justice? Marcus Tullius Cicero offers an answer in these words: there exists a law not written down anywhere, but inborn in our hearts. A law which comes to us not by training or custom or reading. A law which has come to us not by theory but from practice, not by instruction but by natural intuition. Based on these words, Cicero also considers this sense of right and wrong, this native justice, to be innate. And if native justice is innate, it must proceed from a source that precedes the individual. If that is so, it can only come from the Creator, nature's God, the origin of divine providence, and the supreme judge of the world. Though native justice is not exactly a right, natural, unalienable, or otherwise, it is an endowment that proceeds from the same source as a right. In my 60 years of living on this rough, rocky, space-hurling orb called Earth, I have observed that different people exhibit various degrees of native justice. For some, life appears to be a journey of quiet suffering. They appear to feel as though they are supposed to accept whatever comes down the pike. Others appear mostly interested in themselves. Their actions indicate little or no concern for the effect of their actions on others. Happily, a sufficient number of people observe the golden rule well enough to allow the orderly conduct of mundane social and economic commerce. even though D.C. Trable and Marcus Tullius Cicero agree that native justice is innate, and even though Cicero goes on to say that native justice does not originate in training, custom, reading, theory, or instruction, I believe that the furtherance of native justice involves all of these. I would like you to listen to about 30 seconds of this duet of a Christmas song by David Bowie and Bing Crosby, the Little Drummer Boy. Children are best taught by example and second best by instruction. Later, as adults, they can benefit from the study of theory. A compass is shown on the cover of Personal Liberty and Constitutional Liberty in 2013. Under a heading about the cover, I suggest the Constitution is a compass to guide the ministrations of government. I also mention another compass that cannot be shown in any picture. Native justice is that compass that cannot be shown in any picture. And even though it cannot be shown in any picture, it can be viewed in a mirror. Yes, whether or not you have ever heard the term native justice or thought of it in this way, with a bit of inner reflection, you can become more aware of it. And this is one of those steps you can take somewhere in the middle of your journey toward self-liberation.